Thank you very much, Sharon. Thank you. I appreciate all of you today that are tuned into our webinar. As you already know, this is part 2 of the first series that I did, I think back in August or September. And we had a bunch of questions last time. We ran over time, so what we did was COABE was gracious enough to allow us to have a part 2 for this TABE-nology webinar. So I really am very thankful to COABE to push this out into the field, because we've developed through partnership with Florida IPDE and the Florida Department of Education, we were able to develop such great materials that would help you enhance your instruction, especially for ABE and also for higher level or adult secondary education. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Ms. Bonnie has already went over some of the information about me, so I really appreciate that. And just so you know, we'll be stopping by and checking back with Ms. Bonnie with regards to your questions. So if you have any questions throughout this webinar, please feel free to type it in under either the chat box or the Q&A tab. And we'll be happy to respond to you. And if ever we are not able to respond to you by the end of this webinar, do not worry, because I will get a record of all of your questions that you typed in, and I would personally email you or connect with you directly and respond to your questions directly. And if I couldn't respond to your question directly, I would direct you and copy the person that would get you the answer that you need. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just do a quick review. This is what we've covered from the previous webinar. We did some overview of TABE. We talked about the online tools. I shared with you a wonderful piece of project that that has been developed that correlates the Khan Academy with all of the mathematics standards that are tested on the TABE. We talked a little bit about some rapid response systems such as Kahoot. And then I also gave you some information about Quizlet, which is also another technology-based study and assessment tool, and actually you can even use it for for whole group and or small group class instruction with Quizlet. And they have designed several topics that are already developed by other teachers, so we do not have to recreate the wheel. Where we ran out of time.
I'm sorry, all we can see is a black screen. Is there a PowerPoint you wanted to show?
Yes, I do. Or thank you for okay, let me just.
And while Ronald's pulling that up, I just want to encourage everybody, please put your name and where you're joining us from right there in the chat box so we can get to know you as well. I can see your screen now, Ronald. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so let me go back to, there you go. Is everybody, are we okay now, Sharon? Sorry.
Yes, all set.
Thank you. All right, I didn't see that. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so where we ran out of time last time is the resource activities. And when I was going over the instructional matrices that we have developed. So that's where we're going to pick back up from. I'm going to go over a quick overview of the Google Classroom again, because I have saved and developed a mini course for this program so that you can download all of the materials in a more organized fashion. I'm going to go over and go through that, show you where to go, where to click, and things like that. We're going to do a quick walkthrough of the IPDE website to know where you can download some of these materials, and then talk in depth about whatever we've developed in our instructional suite. And then we'll also tell you about some things to come. All right. So last time I talked about the Google Classroom. So if you're not familiar with the Google Classroom, it's just a simplified LMS system. So I know a lot of school districts have spent a whole ton of money developing their own LMS system or purchasing an LMS system for them. But luckily for us, regular folks, we have Google. Google has developed something for us that's called a Google Classroom, which you can create your own online courses for your students. So what the Google Classroom does is it just creates an online course. You take control of everything. So I've created a Google Classroom for this particular webinar, and it is the same Google Classroom that we've logged in from the previous webinar. But if you're now just tuning in to part 2, it is important that you take notes of some of the access codes that I'm going to provide you so that you can join the Google Classroom. So if you want to go and look at the Google Classroom, the website is down there, classroom.google.com. And then you can download the app if you have an app, or in your desktop, you can go into your desktop, or it's also an app on your phone or your tablet that you can use. But when you go into Google Classroom, once you've downloaded it, you're going to have to register. You don't have to have a Google account to be able to register for Google Classroom. You can use whatever personal email you already have. And that's all actually they need. That they just need your email, and they just need your basic information. So pretty much this is the screen that I wanted you to have a screenshot of, or write it down. And if you're over the phone tuning in, I'm gonna mention this to you in shortly. But this is the code that you're going to need to join the class. So when you load up Google Classroom, it's gonna load up a blank screen, and you'll see a plus sign somewhere, and usually it's in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. And when you click that plus, that means you're ready to join a class. So if you want to add the class, it's going to ask you for a particular code, because not everybody, this course is not open to everyone, only for the ones that have the code. With that said, I am not preventing you from sharing this code to other people. If you find that the materials that I am sharing with you today, or I will be sharing with you today, is really critical and important, feel free to share this code and the link to the Google Classroom to your colleagues or to your administrators. So I'm going to read it out for those who are on the phone. It's P as in Paul, G as in goat, F as in Frank, D as in dog, the number 6, C as in Charlie, and the number 3. So PGFD6C3. So that's the code that you're going to type in, and it's going to take you directly to our Google Classroom. Now, what's in it is going to be, I took a snippet of it down at the bottom left corner of the slide, where you see TABE-nology, and then there's that streaming, the classroom stream there just gives you a little bit of what's new, what we've updated. Every frequently I would post here things that are relevant to this topic, such as webinars or presentations or updates from TABE DRC. So there are 3 tabs at the top of your Google Classroom. That's what I call, and the first one I already mentioned to you is the stream. And this is just getting updates and things like that. And this is how it looks like. So I actually streamed out or posted today's webinar there as well. So you can get that information through the TABE-nology classroom. The second tab that you're going to see is the Classwork tab. The Classwork tab is really where it's going to be your home. That's where you're going to be able to learn about all of the resources from this presentation. You can download them directly into your computer or your hard drive, and also go through some of the activities that I designed for you to get familiarized with some of these things that we're talking about in this training. I also added here PowerPoint presentations, that the PowerPoint presentations from the previous TABE-nology webinar and this PowerPoint presentation that I'm using right now. So you can feel free to use it and share it with other teachers so that they also have that information with them. And again, there's also like an opportunity for transfer of learning activities that I've incorporated into the classwork section. So please check them all out. So this is just a snippet of what you're going to see on the classwork section. And as you can see, what we've had is that in the previous webinar, I've already created the course. And what I'm doing is I'm just adding additional sections and content based on what we're going to cover today. So this is pretty much what we have from last time, just this piece right here on your left side of the screen. That is just going over the TABE, going over all of the resources I've shared in the past, Khan Academy, practice sets, Kahoot, and things like that. So feel free to do that. Now, if you're creating your own classwork, when you can always click and create your own classroom through Google Classroom. So what you do is when you're already there and you've already set up the title and the name of the class, and it'll even ask you a date range is when you want the class to start and to end, which is pretty much optional because I keep mine. Usually keep mine open because you never know who would need the information. But I try to make sure that the information that is in here is up to date as much as possible. So when you want to create your own online course, all you got to do is click that create button, and then you click on whatever type of information you want to add. Do you want to add an assignment? Do you want to add a quiz? Do you want to pose a question or groups of questions? Or do you want to add material? Just like in this case, what I'm sharing here are a lot of material, PowerPoint presentation, PDF documents, Excel documents where you can use and download for your own learning. And then you can also reuse posts and also all of that. Now, what you see in the blue, where you see what is TABE, Khan Academy practices, those are the topics. So it's important for you to separate and also categorize your information into topics so that it feels like it's organized. Just like when you're teaching in your classroom, to me, when I'm building my own class, I feel like I'm creating my own lesson plan for my students. And so it has to follow a particular flow, and in one activity should lead automatically to the next activity or prepare them for what activities to come in the future. And then from that point, I'm just going to show you what's going to show up. Let's say you click on assignment. The screen's pretty much the same for everything, whether it's assignment or questions. There's some areas where it's going to be different, but it asks you to create a title for that, any instructions that you want to add, whether it may be, okay, please read this or watch this video and things like that. And then it allows you to put points if you're grading the activity or grading their response to the post. Due date, okay, and then in here on the bottom right corner of the little window, you'll see topic or no topic. So if you want to organize or automatically put it into topic, then that's what you're going to click. Now underneath that, you'll see a paper clip. That's where you can click on an attachment. You can add in a video. There's that YouTube icon there, or whatever other attachments you want to add. So it may be a website, a web link, a web app, or things like that you want to lead your class into. So I just kind of went over how you can create your own material or create your own while you're at Google Classroom. Try to explore how I've organized my own classroom. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's kind of gets you warmed up into maybe you want to create your own online course for your students. Usually a lot of teachers that teach face-to-face, they hybridize their classroom by creating a side-by-side online course. This really helps when students, especially if students are absent. It's very prominent with adult education, and our students are not always there every day. Life happens, and they have to tend to things that are very important to their life or their work. So I don't want them to be discouraged or to get so far behind of what they missed in class. So, since all of my materials are already saved online or digital, all I do is just post them in here and have a running log of everything we did in class, so my students are able to catch up on everything that we've done from day to day. And I arrange it by topic or by unit of whatever we're discussing. So I'm going to quickly switch out of here and just show you live as to what you're going to see and just kind of demonstrate to you how you're going to download the materials. So I'm going into, okay, so hopefully you're seeing Internet Explorer on your screen. I don't know if that's, Sharon, is that showing up correctly? Google Classroom?
It sure is, yes.
Yes, okay. So as you can see here in my Google Classroom, I've already created some classes here. And you can create, again, you can create multiple accounts. You can create professional accounts, you can create personal accounts and things like that. But in here, I've already created several classes here, and where I want to go is to this TABE-nology. Now, when you're the first time logging into the class and you're using that code, this is the only class you're going to see, and this is the landing page that you're gonna see there. As you can see here, I posted this webinar. So a lot of the students that were part of the previous TABE-nology webinar have already got some quick notification either through their Google Classroom app or through their email about today's webinar. So I've seen some responses as well from other people. But in here, in the Classroom tab, you see how it's already arranged by topic. And I'm gonna scroll all the way on where we're going to be focusing today. So I just want to demonstrate to you how to download some of the resources that are already here. So one of the most popular things that people download is the curriculum matrices, and we've created one for every subject area of TABE or for ABE and ASE. And as you can see, if you click on just the link or just the name of the topic, and you can also see when I posted it, so you'll see when materials are being updated. So if you click on that, the attachment, you'll be able to see that attachment. You can download it. There's a print and a download right here. There's more actions here, or you want to open it on a different window or a specific app. You can enlarge it as much as you can, because I know these matrices can get really small. So because we try to fit in as much as we can in a single page spread. So I just demonstrated to you how to do that. Now, if you want to go back to the course, there's that arrow button where it says close. So it automatically closes and puts you back on the course. So that's pretty much it. So for how to download the material. So I'm going to pause right here and check with Sharon, see if we have any questions or whatnot.
Okay, so let me check real quick.
Okay, I see some of the chats, Sharon. So I'm going to go over some of the chats, and if they put it on the Q&A, I'm just going to rely on you, Sharon. So I see some of the chats here. One of the question is that is Khan Academy used for all subjects? So Khan Academy has developed multiple. It started off with mathematics, but I think right now they're branching off into other subject areas. So, but really, that's really now the new, I mean, the where it all started, kind of like the brainchild of how this became widespread and widely used and now being commercialized, is that it was through that mathematics. So what I have with you, however, is only the mathematics information correlation with the TABE items and TABE standards that are being assessed. So I do not have the links for the other subject areas. However, maybe in the future we can research that or add it on to our future information we share with you. Okay, and I have some questions here that says, I have a problem sharing files with Google Classroom. So with that said, what you wanted to do is to download it first into your computer before sharing it. So if you want to share it, you can either share it as an attachment or download it to your own Google Drive if you have a cloud, or you can even download it to any cloud device that you have or cloud platform that you have. You have to do that step first before you can share. You cannot share directly from our TABE-nology Google Drive. So that may be the issue there, and we're going to try to address that as much as we can. All right, Sharon, that's pretty much it on my end. Do we have any on yours that's burning?
The only other question that I saw was someone was asking if you could show them again how to log into the Google Classroom. So I'm not sure your thoughts on that.
Okay, so I have not shared that with you. So when you go into the classroom the first time, let me just, I'm just going to right there because I couldn't see the top. When you go into Google, it's classroom.google.com. .com, and hopefully it doesn't lead me directly to here. No, it doesn't. It does. Okay, so because I already have class, my screen is not going to be the same as yours. So once you go into Google Classroom, it's going to be pretty much a blank screen, and it's gonna ask you, just like you're logging into an email, to log in. And if you've never had Google Classroom in the past, you're gonna have to sign up. So once you sign up, you provide your email address, and then also create your password. Once you created your password, it's gonna lead you into this page, except that your page will only be blank. It will not have these little squares in there. So in order to get access to the TABE-nology classroom, you're gonna click this plus sign. It's the plus sign is to either create or join a class. So if you click that, go ahead and select join class. And when you go into join class, that's where you're gonna type the classroom code that I gave you. And I'm gonna post it one more time for you, just so you can take another quick look at it, and if not, just go ahead and just post it onto the question, and I'm gonna blast it to everyone so that you actually have the class code at the end of this webinar, okay? So when you type that class code in, it's gonna directly lead you into this Google Classroom, and then of course you're only going to see the TABE-nology square, this square right here at the bottom left. That's all you're gonna see because that's the only class that I've shared with you guys. All right, hopefully that answers that question. All right, let's go back to the presentation. And again, I want to go back to this slide just so you have one more quick look at that code. It's PGF, D as in dog, the number 6, letter C as in cat, and the number 3. All right, very good. And again, don't worry if you did not get it that first time. I am going to share this with you at the end through email. So the Google Classroom also has the people section where you can collaborate with others. So that's also a platform where students can message each other. You can message students directly. You can collaborate with other students, or in this case, with our classroom, you can collaborate with everybody that have taken the TABE-nology webinar. And just ask questions. You know, if you remember, okay, hey guys, you can post a question directly onto the stream, or you can post directly the questions to the students that are, you know, only within your area, or select emails that you want to share it with. So this is really more of a networking, collaboration tab for you. So that's the people tab on the Google Classroom. All right. So let's switch gears a little bit because I really wanted to share, I'm very excited to share with you this information that I have with you. We've developed lots of resources through Florida IPDAY. And if you're not familiar with Florida IPDAY, the website is at the bottom of the blue box, www.floridaipday, I-P as in Paul, D as in dog, A as in apple, E as in elephant.org. So Florida IPDAY stands for the Institute for the Professional Development of Adult Educators. And this is a really centralized website where we have everything, pretty much including the kitchen sink. We try to fit it in here for you guys if you need the kitchen sink. I'm just kidding. So in here, we've developed lesson plans and teacher toolkits that are already pre-created, aligned to the standards, and really incorporates a lot of the instructional strategies that, you know, a lot of adult educators and professionals and experts have been talking about, meaning putting in some information for the use of hands-on materials or manipulatives, incorporating cooperative learning, and also integrating or chunking subject areas or topics together. So I'd like for you to check that out, and I'm going to walk you through Florida IPDAY in a little bit. I just wanted to go over some of what you are going to see there. At the Florida IPDAY, we also have developed several e-training modules. So again, Florida IPDAY has its own kind of like Google Classroom inside so that they can track usage and also control content that is delivered to you. A lot of this is going to be catering to Florida educators, but pretty much it's going to, you know, most of the information would really apply to you. So you'll see here we have e-training modules about college and career readiness standards. So if you're new to adult education and you have no clue what the CCRS is, or you have nowhere to start with, I really suggest you start with the standards and really understand what you're supposed to cover in adult education. So we've developed per subject area college and career readiness standards to get your feet wet, get you warmed up and looking into what is in the standards. How do you try to absorb, and how is it arranged? What led to the development of that is we cover that in these online modules. It tracks your usage, and again, it saves your progress. So you don't have to complete it in one sitting. You can come back a day or a month later and pick back up where you left off. And it also allows you to print a certificate at the end if you want to show proof that you actually went through some of that. And that is available not just to Florida educators, but to all adult educators throughout the world, actually. So anyone that has access to Florida IPDAY website. Another thing that I'm really excited is that we also have grab and go videos, short, quick videos, topic related, very relevant, also incorporates real world applications of a lot of the topics. And we've created one for every subject area. And it's select topics, and we're adding new material as we go. But these are very useful. I'm going to demo that to you in a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the navigation screen for Florida IPDAY. So when you go into the Florida IPDAY website, this is the landing page. So as you can see, you can go into the top tabs up here. Event calendars talks about upcoming trainings and webinars again, but where you really want to go is these little channels right here in the middle of the screen. You can click on the channel, the ABE, and it lists lesson plans, links, videos, all of the webinars relating to that, to ABE, and all of the, if IPDAY has conducted a workshop, we push that information publicly so you can go through and look at some of the strategies and materials that each workshop we've developed, and it become available to you. And you can use it to develop your own workshop or use it for your own classroom. There's also a link channel for GED or any, Florida uses GED, but some states use HiSET. So in this case, a lot of the materials are catering to GED, but there is critical information here that would apply to both standardized assessments. So there's a handbook, there's a webinar, there's lessons, and there's videos. And there's really where I want to take you is the videos. So that's really where you want to go. And if you wanted to look at the video, we have here some language arts, mathematics, and things like that. And just to show you what one looks like, so I'm going to try to look at here, and then let's do let's just a quick demo. When you go in, there's a handout in there. That handout, and I'm going to go ahead and click that handout for you so you actually can see it. So that handout goes along. There's a participant packet that talks about pretty much almost a lesson plan. It talks about enrichment activities, additional problems that you may use that align to that. So let's go back to that. And then if you click play here, it's going to take you to the webinar. I'm going to forward it a little bit.
We're going to focus on writing and solving linear inequalities. This activity is designed to be done with your students. Your task is to plan an event at this restaurant given a budget of $3,000. If the set menu costs $25 and the cost to rent this section of the restaurant is $250, determine how many guests you can invite.
So that's really just a quick preview of what this is. So we usually center it on problem solving because a lot of the GED and also ABE content material are tested in a word problem format. So therefore, we found it that really useful to develop some of these videos centered across real world applications through word problems. So that's what it is. It's going to take you through the solution process. You can use it in your class. You can post this into your class and pause the video and then allow them to solve the problem on their own. And then and then resume the video to go over the solutions and see if their final answer matches the one that's on the video. Now, what we would tell you is that what we show on the video is just one of the many correct ways to solve the problem. So that's the caveat there, that yes, if there is another way, we're not incorporating that into the video. What we show in the video is just one of the many possible ways to solve the problem. What we do select is the most detailed solution to a particular problem, so that if a student is just trying to learn and getting a grasp of a particular concept, let's say solving linear inequalities, that they will be able to see step by step, line by line, how the problem is being solved and how the equation is being simplified. So hopefully this would be useful to you. Of course, when we go back to the home screen, all of the webinars that we've done in all of the subject areas are also going to be in here. It's archived just like it is with COABE. So that's pretty much that. And then, so I'm going to also show you that when you actually log in to your IPDAY account and you create your own IPDAY account, it will show you this, this landing screen. It will give you access to the e-training courses. So once you've created your own account in through the portal, what you're going to do is it's going to land you into this page, and this is where you can click on the e-trainings catalog and see what I've shown you earlier. With it'll give you access to all of the trainings that you've done and that it's available. So, and then we're updating material, you know, as consistently as possible, but that's really for you to explore. So then going back to the landing page, if you also have this activity history, gives you all of the activity you've done. So in the e-trainings catalog, you can track on how far or what, you know, what trainings you've registered on or what webinars you've registered into, and then also show proof that you actually attended or participated in that webinar. Okay, so that's the quick overview of IPDAY for you. I'm going to pause again to look at some. I see some of the chat questions. There are some chat questions here. Okay, wow, I just see some comments. One of the best, very good. Thank you so much for all of your feedback. Please share this wonderful website to your colleagues if they do not know about IPDAY yet. All right, there are no questions on my end, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to, unless we have any questions from Sharon.
Right, I was just checking. Let's see here real quick. Nope, there's no questions.
Awesome. So I'm now going to move on to really the core of this, this presentation. So what I'm going to do is show you, hold on, I'm going to go back to the presentation mode. There you go. So what we've developed is, I know there's a, you know, TABE, there's a lot of questions with TABE, and now this is a more complicated and more complex, higher level of content that's being assessed because it's based off of the college and career readiness standards. So what we've done is we've created instructional matrices. Instructional matrices is just as simple as it is. It's just a mapping of all of the standards into one page spread. It highlights topics, skills, whatever that needs to be covered in that particular area. We've chunked them all together, minimized and took away a lot of the noise and unnecessary information, and really clustered them by content and by domain and then by level. So here's an example of a matrix. This is the mathematics matrix, and I've posted this already into the Google Classroom, so you can download this right away. So the mathematics matrix, as you can see, you got all of the domains for mathematics across to the left hand side, and then at the top you have all of your NRS levels. And what we've added this time, and you know your version might be probably updated, is we've added NRS levels 5 and 6, which covers our adult secondary education levels. So you now, whether you're teaching ABE or ASE or GED or HiSET, you're seeing both areas now within one spread. Now, what's new is we've developed the reading curriculum matrix. So we have the matrix for reading, and you'll see that the reading domains to the left and then also to the right. And I know you can't see the text here. Once you download the actual material, you can enlarge this as much as you can, print sections of it or take snippets of sections of it. And also you can take it and make a poster out of it. What I've heard from one of the teachers that have attended my webinars is that they took the file, saved it on a thumb drive, took it to FedEx Kinko's, and asked them to print it on a 24 by 36 size paper, and it cost them less than $7 to print in color. And then they added in the teacher said, oh, I chipped in an extra $1 just for them to laminate it. So now I have a laminated large scale version of the matrix that I use in my classroom. It's up in the front of my room, and we track our progress on how much content we've covered by level of students that they have. And really, I thought I'd just share that with you, so that just in case you wanted a really large print for your matrix. The matrix file PDF is optimized for an 11 by 17 piece of paper. We call it a tabloid sheet. So if you want to print it, and it's really optimized for that size where you can actually see and read without straining your eye. But again, of course, nothing is going to beat poster size. So 20 by 30 or 24 by 36 would be really absolutely great. And then I'm here showing you the language curriculum matrix. Now, the language curriculum matrix is divided into two. We got the language part, and then we created a separate matrix strictly for writing. So really here you can track all of your writing domains and cover them one by one with them, or by level, or if you are in a mixed class, you can now kind of see across levels what contents are the same, what contents are repeated, what contents bleed into the next level of, depending on the type of students or group of students that you have. We've also added and created and developed the GED mathematical reasoning matrix, and it's based off the performance level descriptors released by GED Testing Service. So that's also there for you, and we're building additional stuff for ASE. It's just that we try to focus on adult basic education at this time. Where can you get the copy? You can get a copy from the Florida IPDA website. You can get a copy through the Google Classroom that I gave you, and also you can get a copy actually at the COABE conference. So if you're going to Baltimore for the COABE conference, I am hosting a TABE-nology session there, and we're giving away poster-sized matrices to 10 lucky participants. So if you're there, please sign up for the TABE-nology, go into the, make sure you visit our session for the TABE-nology session so that you're able to grab your poster-sized copy. Again, moving on, another thing that we've done is we've created a TABE overlay. So we know that TABE tests different levels of NRS. So what we did is we've created kind of like an overlay to the matrix. So as you can see, the matrix, I turn it into black and white, and you can download this now directly. And I think I just added these materials into the TABE-nology classroom. What we did is we created color overlays. So we used the TABE blueprint to develop the overlays, okay? And what you can see is that what we did is we shaded each cell based on the level of emphasis. So the lighter shades are low emphasis, medium shades, medium, and then dark shade will be high. So as the color of the cell darkens, it increases the level of emphasis on the test. So just a quick demo of that here. As you can see, this is TABE level E, okay, and then TABE level M, okay, and as you can see, certain domains are assessed and certain domains are not. We've taken this directly from the College and Career Readiness. Some standards cannot be directly assessed through TABE or through a piece of technology that we have at the moment. So therefore, you'll see some items that are not colored at all. But as you can see, you can differentiate between lighter shades, medium shades, and dark shades. Now we've had NRS level 4 right here, and then we also have so we also have TABE level, NRS level 5 and 6, which corresponds to your TABE level A. We've also created other overlays such as learning trajectories. We haven't added this into the TABE-nology classroom because we're still in the finalization stage, but it just talks about particular strands in units or big ideas in math. If you want to target those, specifically, we've created an overlay to the matrix for that. And then this one is really the highly anticipated one, because what we're doing is also showing and creating an overlay for career technical education. So we wanted to show our students what types of what content and what skills are going to be directly or critically used in a particular cluster. And this one goes all the way and as deep as into a particular program, which is carpentry. So we talked about, okay, what are the maths that are going to be definitely used here? So if your students are already thinking about moving into a career technical program or a specific cluster or a specific program, then they already know, hey, I need to pay attention a little bit more with some of these math skills that I'm learning in ABE, because I would definitely use it for my future endeavors. So what we've added that's new is the individualized student plan. So I'm just going to go ahead. The individualized student plan are kind of like a tracking tool. So we made it really low tech for you guys. There is a PDF version, and we usually, a lot of the teachers did not have LMS system and things like that for tracking students. We've created a paper-based version for that for you. You can download this directly from the Google Classroom. I put in all of the maths in there, and I'm going to add the reading and the language later on. But what this does is it just allows you to look into a particular, examine the diagnostic test or the pretest of the student, and fill out the instructional plan. So looking at which areas show no proficiency or partial proficiency, marking them or highlighting them, and then allowing you to target those skills and then record the target date that they've actually demonstrated mastery. So you can now have a tool so that you can have one-on-one conversation with each student about their performance based on their pretest or the latest post-test that they've had. Let's say that you just post-tested a student. It's like, oh, I did not make progress. I didn't go into the next level. You can now have a tool that would facilitate your discussion with your students as to targeting what skills they need to focus on so that they really can narrow down into a specific skill that the student needs to practice in order to make gains on the next test. So we've developed one for every level of TABE, and this sample that you're looking at is TABE level E. And then we are also developed it for every subject area of TABE. So we have one for math, we have one for reading, and we have one for language. Last but not the least, I want to share with you some resource activities. I did talk about resource activities with you last time, but I just wanted to quickly just hone in on the qualities of these resource activities. So resource activities are just content packets. They're used to develop knowledge or to reinforce knowledge if you want to use it to really hone in and really just solidify what they've learned or really hone in on that mastery level skill. So what this looks like is just like what you saw on your screen right here. It's very small right now, but you can download the bigger one. And I'm also going to zoom in a little bit more in the next slide. But it's derived from the TABE blueprints. It's designed according to particular test level. So if it's at level 2, the language is catered to a level 2 ABE student. It's based on domain percentage. It's grouped by standards. There's a checklist format, and it's also a live document because we make changes as we go. So we realize, okay, this one is it needs additional information, or we need to bring in more practice exercises. We are able to change it, and then you can create some student buy-in just by using this material. Some teachers also use this to reinforce or just to review some students that are or that have been out of class, they've been absent for multiple days, and then they downloaded the particular resource activity by topic and given it to the student for them to kind of help them to catch up. But this is really what it looks like, a little bit bigger. There's a lot of print. There's a practice exercise. It mimics TABE assessment, as you can see. So there's a gridded response there. There's also some technology enhanced items, so that question number 3 is more of a technology enhanced type item that you can use and have students practice in a low tech mode. It's got an answer key. So students, you don't have to figure out the answer to these questions. The answer key is right there. We also added some more materials as to what videos or correlated materials that you can use, and also manipulatives that will align to your development of this. Again, it's aligned to the standards. It's based on research, meaning we're using research-based or research-proven strategies, such as use of hands-on learning, adding a little bit more relevance to instruction because of real-life applications and word problems, and also cooperative learning has been added in here. It's got a lot of visual and graphic content, so the students are trained into looking at graphics, so especially graphics that they will see on the TABE test. There's an emphasis on vocabulary because we know a lot of our students in adult ed are second language learners, so we emphasize vocabulary there. There's also reflective prompts, which allows the student to kind of pause and not really kind of answer the question and wait for a correct answer. More of a reflective is more of an open-ended, does not require a correct answer type of question. So allow the student to just reflect on their learning and see what they've done or how much they've understood so far of what they've covered on the resource activity. It's developed by Florida practitioners, teachers throughout the state. And really what I like about these resource activities are they're simple. The simplicity is kind of like the key here. It's free and reproducible. So when you download it, print away or share away or attach it to an email, send it to as a text, or put it on your WhatsApp if you have that platform, you use that platform with your students. They can use it. Students can, if they have specialized apps to write on it, they can even answer the questions directly through their phone and then resubmit that paper back to you so that you can provide them with feedback. So take advantage of these resource activities. We've spent a ton of time and resources to develop these for you. Unfortunately, we're not done. So our goal is to get every cell of the matrix filled in with a resource activity. Right now, we only have levels 1, 2, and 3 filled in. So if you're looking for level 4 material, it's not there yet. We are loading it as we go, as we create them. We just go through review process and things like that.
Ronald, I see there's a lot of questions here. I wasn't sure, since we're almost at the top of the hour, how you wanted to proceed.
So here's what we're going to do, because I wanted to really cover the last few slides that I have. I really just wanted to show them the dynamic search. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you, Sharon, to just email me these questions, and I'm going to directly respond to these questions after this webinar. So I'm just going to email them directly. Is that okay?
That is. I just want to ask folks, the way that this works best is if you put the questions in the Q&A, then I can actually, instead of in the chat box. So those of you that still would like your questions answered, please put them in the Q&A so I can then download it and send it off to Ronald to respond to you.
Right. So if you have accidentally put in your question on the chat box, please copy and paste that into the Q&A if we haven't answered that question yet, so that I'll have the record of that Q&A, and then I can respond to you directly through the email that you used to sign up for this webinar. So this is now live, this dynamic categorical search, because I don't want to give you a book. That's a lot of paper. We're killing a lot of trees. We want to make sure we're only printing or downloading material that we actually need, because really targeted instruction is our goal. So what I'm going to do is just to show you this categorical search through IPDAY. So you go into the Florida IPDAY website. I'm going to switch again. I'm just going to go to home. There's a special home for the web, so for the matrix dynamic search and looking up all of these resource activities. So you go in here, right here, when you say online lookup tool, or you can also click in it to go to the adult education curriculum matrix. Either one of the links will work the same way. It will allow you to download all of the matrices that we have, so the math, the reading, the language, and even the GED matrix. Keep in mind that in the language matrix, that's where we also embedded the writing matrix into one document. In here, the matrix that we have here is only the math, and again, we're developing materials for reading and language. We just figured math is first because math is the poorest performing of all the 3 subject areas. So we figured we'd invest on that first, and then we develop materials from that point on. But you can select whatever domain you have, and as you can see, we only go to domain 5 because the higher domains are on the higher levels of NRS, so therefore you won't have that. So if you select one, let's say operations in algebraic thinking, which is one of the most problematic one, you go into level 2, it lists all of the cells of the matrix right here to your left, and you can download the corresponding activity resource for that particular one. So you just click on that, gives you a PDF, you can print it, you can save it, you can email it, you can tweet it, if you want. Again, it's free to use. We do not charge you for anything. All right, so let me just close this real quick. So again, just like I said, I'm going to entertain your questions directly by email. So I'm just, and then we can just do an exchange. I think that's even better because it's going to be more specialized to your question. So that's what I'm going to do. And again, I just wanted to let you know that there are 3 sessions that I am going to be covering at the COABE conference in Baltimore. If you're coming, or if you have friends coming, make sure that they come to our session, grab their copy of the matrix, or grab the materials that we have. Also, we have we're giving out lots of manipulatives. So if you're into algebra tiles, please come into the algebra tiles session. It's a pre-conference session. And also, if you're really looking into some really cool problem solving, especially in fractions, then come in onto the pre-conference on the Sunday. Please sign up for that. That's the 8:30 to 11:30 session. That's pretty much it. I just wanted you to keep in mind that, remember, the end game is the students. We're doing all for the students, and all your efforts are really geared towards them achieving and performing and really graduating or achieving their license in their particular field. If you have any questions, you want to contact me directly, my email is at the bottom. It's also in the handouts. COABE is posting the handouts for this webinar into the COABE webinars website and also the resource repository. So you can download it there. If you can't get it there and you've tried everything, then you can email me and I can send this to you as well. With that said, I'm just going to turn it over to Sharon. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share this information with you folks.
Wonderful. Ronald, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us, and thank you to everybody who took their time today to join us. I just want to let you all know there is a poll that's on your screen right now. It helps us if you go ahead and just take a minute there to complete that short poll. And with that, I just want to wish you all well, and I hope to see you at the COABE conference. Thanks so much. Bye now.